It's my little hotep theory. I'm not gonna hold. Now that the now that the CEO shooter did what he did, I think the world in 2 years is gonna move into much more class consciousness because the amount of people who have been dicked over by insurance and the collective release and joy and laughter that people let out, that public response should let CEOs of these predatory businesses know exactly how people feel about the 1%. That is my theory. But I'm like, with Trump and presidency now, people are also going to realize like life is going to become marginally harder, and so everybody's going to be like, oh, we're all poor. Everybody's tired of being poor. Most people are a paycheck away from being broke. Once they realize that, the amount of people who are going to start revolting against government, it's going to be insane. But I think this is the first time that we're going to see class consciousness be a conversation, because even like the New York Times, the Washington Post, they're just like, what is wrong with society that we're celebrating somebody's death and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dog, I'm not going to hold. No one cares, because I said, think around all the other people he dicked over, or at least the organization dicked over.
And he was the representative of it.
And he was the CEO.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So that's my little hotep hot take. But I do think there is something to say around the collective memeification of this event and how people are overall reacting.
Well, when was the last time that something bad societally happened and everyone was making a joke about it? It wasn't too far ago.
That's not COVID?
It wasn't COVID. It was like last year sometime.
Oh, Trump getting shot.
Yes, it was this year.
Getting shot in the air.
Another thing. Yeah, man.
Right.
So there it goes right there. That was the first step.
Yeah.
This is it. It's just getting better. I never wish that anybody.
We do not condone violence. I'm non-violent with those who are non-violent with me. Okay, my views are my own. They are not Greg's.
Not mine.
Or is the CEO killer the inciting incident for clash consciousness to be a front runner in the conversation in the next couple of years?
And third, keep it a bean. In his comments, if you sent, what was his name again?
What's his name?
The shooter.
Oh, Luigi.
If you sent Luigi a DM or anything like that saying, baby, I'm here for you, let us know, because some of y'all got some really sick thoughts.
He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people. We didn't condemn Robin Hood. I'm just saying, okay? They said, if that rich Ivy League child was this angry to do this, what do you think poor people feel? And he was the most privileged of them all.
Do you think that's why he did it?
That because he has that. No, niggas ain't dumb enough to do that. It's January 6th all over again. To be able to roll up on a CEO like that and there be no consequences and nobody question anything is crazy.
Because of his privilege of
whiteness?
No, not whiteness. Wealth.
Wealth?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you think someone of a different race could have also done that?
No.
So you think it's
I think the reaction would be extremely different. I would say that.
Interesting.
It can still get done. I think the public reaction would look differently.
How do you think it would look?
I think the way that the media is reacting is going to paint it like if it was a black person to do that, I think the media reaction would absolutely paint it out to just be like, oh, there's militant black people, this, that, and the third. And like, they'll put more policies around guns. And then even like Eric Adams, he's already started saying like, this is why we need to abolish masks and all this other stuff. I do actually think the way that they talk around it could be like, this is a domestic terrorism event. This isn't just like an offshoot. So the white boy has the ability to just be a singular event and not necessarily a representation of everybody else.
Do you think your idea of now the class thing is because he's a white guy? Do you think your idea that how you were just saying, well, now people realize that it's a class thing, you think you can only have that idea because he's white? Do you think if he was a black guy or like
they would have called it a race thing?
No, would you have said that now they would see it as a class thing?
I think if the public reaction was the same, so if the majority of people are still reacting and saying like this was like they're making jokes of it, they're making light of it, they're just also in support of this man, then we can still name it as a class thing. I think if it were to say a black person to a white CEO, there would be the added layer of race, which would divorce some people from the conversation. So yes, him being white does make it more palatable to talk around it being a class issue.
So, in your idea, it had to be a white person to do this.
Yes.
Did it have to be a white male to do it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because women are too hysterical. Black people would be too emotional. People of color would be too emotional. Another white person doing it. I said, look at this white on white crime, and we're not going to talk about it? But if you really look... Huh? It'd be immigrants, right? And so this was just hyping up the push against civil rights that's already, the attack on civil rights that's already happening. But white people can't deny the fact that like another white person did something like this, and it's not like it was a poor white person. This is a white person with access who was in an Ivy League school who had privilege that did not, he had all the protections not to do anything. And so even seeing this kind of public reaction, I'm like, oh, this allows so many more people to identify with it, because overall, a majority of Americans have been dicked over by medical insurance and are going into medical debt. That everybody can relate to that piece. Now, we have to add the nuance of like how race can play a role into this, because race and class are inextricably linked. However, in this moment, I do believe that it will become an overall class conversation. Yeah.
I agree.
That's a good point.
Cool. Sometimes I be thinking.
I mean,
That bean sprouted right there.